Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the CBL X's and O's podcast for season 2023. We have a look and review the round 2 Gippsland conference games this week, and today I'm joined by Reese M. Riding. Welcome, Reese.
Thanks, Matt.
Exciting round of basketball. You know, we had 18 games on the weekend and some interesting results that we see, and as always, some really high scorers individually.
Yeah, no difference to round one, and it's just looks like it's going to get better and better during the season. And, also a team that's really put a stamp on, they're here to play. So definitely let's get into it.
We'll start with your team, the Traralgon T-Birds. You hosted Morwell on Saturday night and you come away with the victory, which was great to see.
Yeah, very physical contest. There was definitely a fair share of fouls called in that game for both sides. We just skipped away, I think, with our firepower in the end. Kept, obviously Jordan Canavan very quiet as well, which is a big help in any game. So, yeah, we had Tibbs, who's, coming off a really great round one with 22 and Bazina with 21. And, for Morwell, they had their youngsters really that stepped up, Tyler Berman with 12 and Mitchell Bruton with 9. So positive signs for Morwell. They're going to be good. They're just they need to put it together and they'll be okay.
And Sale travelled to Maffra for the Sale Maffra battle, which is always interesting. And Sam Whelan did Sam Whelan things, shooting 37 again.
Yeah, he must be definitely tuning in onto these podcasts for sure. Another explosive game of 37 points. It just seems like he's going to be unstoppable this season. He's really feeling himself right now. And, he was joined, with great support of Ethan McIntyre with 13, and they got up over Sale by nearly 30 points. But credit to Sale, still, getting there in a lot of ways. But Ash Bell had a really good game with 17, and Jake Hutchins followed closely with 11.
And Wonthaggi travelled to Currumbara again, cross town rival battle there, and they went into Currumbara and stole the victory, which was great to see. And Jet Garnham started off his weekend shooting 22.
Look, it's always a tough task going to Currumbara, on their home floor. I think they do a fantastic job of, really defending their home court, but not in this case. Wonthaggi came in and, slapped them with a lazy L, and Jet Garnham, who's an incredible youngster coming through the ranks in Gippsland. And, he had 22 points to start off the doubleheader, followed closely by Will Mortimer. He's going to be a very interesting watch this season. He had a very good season at Maitland. If I'm not mistaken, they were runners up in NBL 1 East. So really handy inclusion for the Coasters. And obviously on the Wildcats, they had Joel Lingulik with 13, and then Flynn Matera with 12 for the Wildcats.
And Warragul welcomed Moe into the Warragul Leisure Centre, but they couldn't defend their home court. When Austin Shelley shoots 41, it's always going to be a tough night for the opposition.
Look, a guy that's coming in and literally averaging 40. Back-to-back 40-plus point games for Shelley. A lot of history between both the teams. A lot of fierce competitive battles, and this one didn't disappoint. The scores may seem it to be the 21-point margin, but that was only towards the end. Shelley put up another fantastic performance, 41 points, followed closely by Stephen O'Brien with 11, and over for Warriors. Jordan Gukia is having a really solid season so far. He's going to be definitely one to watch. He had 26, and Marco Koulis followed closely with 15.
Certainly, it doesn't help when Murray Myers fouls out in the first half of the game. So speaking to Coach Jared Moss on the Sunday, and he put his hand up saying, "Yep, I made the mistake there of letting him play, I guess, when he was on the 4th hours, but they had to roll the dice at the time, and unfortunately, it just didn't go their way. Sunday, Moe welcomed Traralgon, and they again stamped their authority on the competition. But Traralgon were able to keep Austin Shelley under 40, but he still got 33.
Look, there's only so much you can do with very talented players skillfully. And, look, Shelley's an incredible talent. We all know that. He's going to be in for a great another 12 months of wherever he stamps himself outside of CBL. Came in, lit it up all 4 quarters. It was influential. Finished with 33 for the game. But Thomas Portbury was really instrumental in that success as well, setting up majority of Shelley's shots, if I'm not mistaken. He followed closely with 17, handed our first loss, which is good. No one really wants to go the whole season undefeated anyway. To have Ben Barlow came back in first game, second game for the season. He followed 26. He's going to be a Stewart. We all know what Ben Barlow does. He's an incredible, consistent athlete. They actually had Zach Bazina to 0 points in the first half. He ended up the game with 17. So imagine it could have been a little different story if Bazina was able to hit a shot in that first half. But they definitely did a great job on keeping him quiet.
And Carinbara backed up on Sunday, travelling to Morwell, and they were able to come in and take the victory away from Morwell. And Nick Proud shooting 28 points. We're starting to sort of see Nick shooting 20 plus a game on an average basis, aren't we?
Absolutely. Just that hybrid four, there are 2, 3, 4 that can come in, play multiple positions, highly versatile. No surprise to me. I've watched a lot of Nick, the past few years. He's that type of guy. Once he gets hot, he's hot, and comes out with 28 with the game high, with Joel Lindewick following with 20. But man, Morwell was so close, and they just couldn't get it done. And, it was just good to see the depth of Morwell starting to come into play, gain that confidence. Ashton McAllen had 16 and Jesse Bauer had 14. But again, another quiet game from Jordan Canavan. So I think he's going to be in for a big weekend.
And Warragul backed up from Saturday night and went into the Warrior Cup, travelled to Pakenham and come away with the victory, which was, 12-point victory. Warragul, Pakenham, we said it was going to be a great game, and it turned out to be what we expected, didn't it?
Yeah. Another great game this weekend out of all of them, and, obviously a special occasion as well for the Warrior Cup, which I think is a great thing that these associations do. Warragul came in. Jordan Gukia, spoke about him on Saturday night, and he comes in and launches 35. Really great performance by him, and another great performance by Marco Koulis again. Those two had a fantastic weekend this round, and obviously Ben Gaze couldn't back up that first round performance of scoring 40 plus. I was hoping for another big game like that from him, but he was still influential. He had 25, and Mason Moon followed closely with 12. So no, a really good result for the Warragul Warriors there.
And Sale hosted Lake Centrance and got onto the winners list, beating them by 6 points. And it seems to be a pretty close game, and is what we probably expected by these two teams.
Yeah, I think I actually had Lakes picked for this one to get the dub, but they couldn't quite get there. 6 points, only a few possessions in between it, and another fierce competitive battle. Very looking at the stats, it was a lot of fouls both sides as well. So no doubt it was definitely physical, and Sale ran away as the winners. Ash Bell had 16, and Benjamin Descent had 14. But for the Lakes, Fields had a day with 20, and Matt Pearce had 12.
And Wonthaggi played their second game of the season, having last week off, and They ran out nearly 50-point victors over the Southern Peninsula Sharks, and another 40-point game in the league, but this time it goes to Jet Garner.
Yeah, another person writing his name in that 40-point game column for this season. 2 rounds in, and we had multiple so far, so it's going to be interesting to see how many multiple or some that people can get. One faggy came and smacked Southern Penn, pretty comfortably. Jet Garnham had 42, followed closely by Will Mortimer with 24. Credit to Jake Wilson from Southern Penn having 28 of their 59, which is a great effort. And Patrick Ramsey followed closely with 13 to round it out.
And we just take a quick look at the Gippsland men ladder, and Wonthaggi go from the bottom of the ladder, not playing in round 1, to the top of the ladder with a 2-0 record, followed closely by Mafra, who still own that 2-0 record. Moe sit in third with a 3-0 record. So still 3 teams who are undefeated. And then at the moment, Traralgon hold that 4th place, which is our top 4, and that's where you want to be come round 8 of the season. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get some of the teams who are sitting outside the likes of Carnborough and Warrigal, who are sitting 5th and 6th, whether they can push any of the teams in the top 4 currently and potentially steal a spot. And, we've got Pakenham down a little bit down the bottom, down towards the bottom of the ladder. So, don't be surprised if they step up the ladder as well. They've played some 2 tough games in both Moe and Warrigal. So once they can potentially match up against some of the bottom teams and get that win or 2, they'll get rolling, and watch out for them later in the season.
Absolutely. It's early days, and we're reaching that quarter point of the season. It's going to get interesting. It'll be interesting to see who races for that 4th.
And the Gippsland women, Traralgon travelled across to, Traralgon hosted more in the arch rival battle in Traralgon, and they got the victory pretty comfortably in the end, and Samantha Labros led the way for the T-Birds.
Yeah, Sadie came in and do what she does best. Played a really fantastic game for the T-Birds. Credit to Morwell, they're still getting their rhythm going and trying to put it all together. But the T-Birds were just too strong on the night for them. And Sammy had 21 points, followed closely with Jordan Pyle, made a debut back from the college system over at St. Francis, I believe, and she contributed with 9, and Laura Vanafasser had 9 as well. For Morwell, we had Abilene Noblet with 16. She's starting to, get the miles going, so it should be interesting next round. And Michaela Zelderick, I do apologise if I butchered that, but yeah, she followed closely with 11.
And Mafra hosted Sale on Saturday night and were able to hold on to the victory. And Sale obviously were bucked up with a few key players coming back for them. Disappointing round 1 Sale had, and obviously to get within 4 points of Mafra is a solid effort for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sale's a very young squad. And same with Mafra as well. It was a great display of the younger talent coming through in that region, especially. 4 points doesn't describe, that just tells you how close it was. No one really gave an inch, and someone had to walk away with the win, and that was Mafra. So Paige Brittle had another great game with 16, and Emerson Conley with 16 as well. And for the Sonics, we had Taylor DeMarco, who's a fantastic point guard if anyone's seen her, and she had 19, and Gemma Briss finished with 16.
And in the Battle of South Gippsland, obviously Carnborough welcomed Wonthaggi into the Carnborough Rec Centre, and they were able to hold on their home court. And Chloe Hogg contributing a game high 16 was one of the key players for the Wildcats Saturday night.
Yeah, probably very low scoring for what Carnborough was able to do in their opening rounds. Only getting the Coasters by 8, but like I said last week, you just don't know what you get with one faggy sometimes, and they always pack a punch. So, it seemed like a very interesting game throughout, and obviously the Wildcats pulled out in the end. Chloe Hogg was 16 and Lara Gill with 14. And then for the Coasters, we had Eva Garnham, which may be a relation to obviously the other Garnhams in that area. She had 14, and Grace McRae, which we all know, had 14. So, no, very good contest there.
And Warragul hosted Moe, but couldn't walk away with the win. They went down by a bit of a margin in the end, but obviously Beck Orwin's able to contribute 20 is a good sign for the Warriors.
Yeah, she's having a really great start to the season. Probably didn't like the result the way it ended up to be. Moe just came in and just rolled them the whole game, and Beck put up 20 of the 42 for Warragul, which is a massive effort. So she was still competing, and followed closely by Dominic Potter as well with 12. But for Moe, I think they had about 5 or 6 in double digits, in the actual play HQ. But for their top 3 scorers, we had Tani Hodgins with 22, Mish Clark with 16, and Danielle Davies with 16 as well. It just seemed like a great all-round effort for Moe, and they just ran away with it.
Yeah, and Danielle backed it up on Sunday in their loss to the Traralgon T-Birds, shooting 20. A big win here from the T-Birds to start stamping their authority on the women's competition.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's a Moe and Traralgon have got such a rivalry in terms of, and just in juniors as well. It's just that fierce and competitiveness and everything like that, and that's basically what that game was. It could have went either way. But it's the Lady T-Birds just came out and just got it done in that final the last half of the game, and got it done. But for Moe, we had Danielle Davies with 20 backing up a game the previous night, and Libby Hunter with 16. And for Traralgon in their win, Sammy LeBrosse again, 22 points, making a real habit of scoring 20 plus a game at the moment. And Sienna Privatera had a really nice outing with 13.
Moore hosted Caramburra and couldn't hold on to their home court advantage, with Caramburra walking all over them with a 49-point victory.
That sounds like Caramburra scoreline of 90 points there. Obviously probably a little bit disappointed with their performance against One Faggy, and just came out and used all of that anger on Morwell, unfortunately. And credit to Morwell. Like I said, they're still coming through and everything like that, but probably not the best weekend for them on the results. But Caramburra just obviously proven they're too good, leading with their star player Chloe Hogg with 29, followed closely by Lara Gill with 15. She had another competitive game there, Gill. And for the Magic, we had Michaela Zenduric, I do apologise, with 11, and Keely Phillips with 10. A really great game from the Wildcats there.
Then Pakenham women were the main reason that Pakenham were able to win the Warrior Cup. The Pakenham women put on a great show, defeating Warragul by quite a bit of a margin, and it was the reason why they were able to obtain or regain the Warrior Cup this year.
Yeah, that's right. For those that don't know, they base the points scored by each team in their men's and women's, and calculate it at the end, and whoever had the most points was given the Warriors Cup. So for Pakenham women, they obviously did the men a big favour by nearly getting the Warragul women by nearly 40 in the end, which obviously played a nice part in that result. But look, Pakenham Warriors women, they're on fire. They're coming in really trying to put in where they belong. Again, their players just stepping up left, right, and centre. For the Warriors, we had Beth Kawara with 25, and Hayley Letts again with another solid game with 23. But for the Warragul Warriors, Beck Orwin with 11, still doing everything she can, and Dominic Porter with 9. So not the greatest weekend for the Warragul women, but I'm sure they'll bounce back for round 3.
And the Sale Sonics, again, were able to bounce back from Saturday night's defeat, and they got over the line to the Lakes Entrance Pelicans by about 7 points. It was a cracker of a game, this one.
Yeah, the Lakes women, they're coming leaps and bounds. They're getting there, and it was a great result for them to show that they can run with these teams in here and aspire for that win. But look, Sale Sonics, their youngsters really stepped up in this one and really got it all going. Chloe Reeves had 22, for the Sonics, and Brooke Kelly with 11. And for the Pelicans, we had Abby Spruill with 20, and Chloe Watson with 13. But a very tight game that looked like it was decided in that last quarter.
And Wonthaggi were able to get a big victory over the Southern Peninsula Sharks, and we see Eva Garnham there shooting 15, but wasn't the top scorer for the Coasters on Sunday.
No, it was, I do apologise, Tiani Ellingworth with 17, come in and really showing that, I can score as well, in a very dominant win over a, very young Southern Penn side. But with Southern Penn, they had, solid contributors from April Ely's with 12 and Charlie's Herbu with 12 as well. But very good weekend for Wonthaggi across the board.
Certainly, and we take a look at the Gippsland women's ladder, and Currambara are sitting up on top with a 4-0 record, closely followed by Maffra, who are 2-0. So there are only 2 undefeated teams left. So it'll be a great matchup when Currambara takes on Maffra later in the season. We have Traralgon sitting in third with a 3-1 record, and Moe rounding out the top 4 with a 2-1 record. But, we've still got Wonthaggi and Pakenham, who have both only played 2 games there, that might sneak into the top 4 at some stage. So keep an eye out for them. That's we've then got Sale, Wonthaggi, Southern Penmore, and Lakes, who are rounding out the bottoms. And I think them teams are going to be, battling each other this season for wins, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the ladder, you've got Wonthaggi, Pakenham, Sale all tied for 5th, with Moe ahead by 1 game. So sitting in 4th. So it's going to be interesting come to the business end of the season.
It sure will. And that's our round 2 Gippsland review, episode 13 of the CBL X's and O's podcast for season 2023. Stay tuned for later in the week where we drop our preview of round 3, which is going to be an exciting round, isn't it, Reese?
Oh, it's packed with everything. I can't wait.
So stay tuned for that. And until then, we'll see you later.